Thank you guys for listening to Let's Talk Sedalia. This is the student news segment, and I'm here with cast members of the Wizard of Oz musical. Please go around and introduce yourself and the role you play.
Hi, I'm Harrison Ray. I am the Scarecrow and as well as Hunk.
I am Faith Barkerfeld, and I play Dorothy.
I am Madison Medlock, and I play Auntie M.
And where can we watch this musical at?
Well, you can watch it at the Performing Arts Center at Smith Cotton.
All right, and how much are the tickets?
The tickets are $5.
And are they different for students, or is it all just general admission?
It's $5 for students and $10 for general admission.
All right. And how long have you guys been practicing this?
We started like mid-September.
Yeah.
Mid-September through October.
And how long would you say the practices are?
Well, until like a week ago, they were 4 to 6 Monday through Thursday. But since last week, they've been 5 to 8, and this week they're 5 to 9.
And when is the musical?
The musical is this Friday, November 21st, starting. Friday and Saturday, they are at 7 p.m. And then Sunday, the 23rd, it's at 2 p.m.
All right. And how long is the musical?
It's about 2.5 hours with
yeah.
a 15-minute intermission.
All right. And how many cast members are there?
There's 4 main leads,
Mhm.
and then I think we have about
20 on
25?
20
to
25
25 others. Yeah.
And do you guys have a stage crew?
Yes, we do. There's about 15 backstage and then a couple in the light booth.
And how would one go about auditioning for the musical next year?
Well, next year they have auditions pretty much right after school starts. You just get in contact with Ms. Carter and
Yeah.
she can give you all the info.
And usually they do it on like the morning announcements, like announcing like when the days are.
And is there going to be a musical next semester, or is it the play?
It's a
It-
play in the spring and a fall and a musical in the fall.
Okay.
Yeah. It's always musical in the fall, play in the spring.
Yeah.
And are you guys going to be a part of the play?
Plan on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, once again, when's the play? How much is it? And just closing remarks you guys have.
So the musical is this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Friday, Saturday is at 7 p.m. and the 24th is at 2 p.m. And then $10 for general admission and $5 for students.
All right. Is that everything you guys have?
I think so.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for coming on. And thank you guys for watching.
Thank you, Zach.
Ron Tolner, man, it's been a long time. This is our first initial comeback of Let's Talk Sedalia. We've taken a year and a half or so off, and we have the pleasure of now recording in the WK studios, and I'm really looking forward to what we can do moving forward to support our community. How about you?
Oh, John, I think we're going to have a great time. We're doing this in conjunction with Smith Cotton High School and one of their programs. So we're going to involve a lot of students in this as well. We're going to have, continuing to have great visitors with us talking about the community, such as Carolyn, who's with us today, and I'll let you do the big introduction. But here we go. We're going to be podcasting video and audio, so we better make sure we shave before we come in.
That's right. Well, I dressed accordingly, but yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've really missed this, and I don't know about you, but I've had many people come up to me in the community that says, "Where's your show? How come it's not on the radio anymore? How come we can't see it?" Well, and I keep telling them that, it's in the works. We were going to come about, and it was your great idea to tie this in to the educational component. And then when Michael Wright and his crew with Smith Cotton stole this idea, I guess, from the Springfield School District and says, hey, this is great and this can work in Sedalia, and brought the CAPS program back to Sedalia, Missouri, and through Smith Cotton High School. So we're excited to, number one, have the youth working with us, and we'll see them throughout the shows too.
That's correct. I think having the youth with us in this will help keep us all young. I think they'll certainly help provide us with a different way of looking at our programs, different types of interviews. I think it's just going to be great.
Yeah, and our concept now is we're going to give about 7 minutes or so of time to youth-oriented and Smith-Cotton projects and programming at the high school. And then the next 7 minutes will be more community news, things that are coming up throughout Sedalia and Pettis County that folks would be interested in. And then we'll have a 30-minute show. So that's kind of the plan. So that gets us to the show. And Carolyn Crooker is our, Ron already pointed out, you're the guinea pig, because, this is the first, get-go. And so, number one, we really appreciate you being here and all that you do for our community. And so, first of all, reintroduce yourself, your position, and, maybe a little bit about your board or something, whatever you want to talk about with talking about Carolyn Crooker.
All right. Well, as John and Ron have indicated, my name is Carolyn Crooker. I'm the Executive Director for the Sedalia Convention and Visitors Bureau. We are located in the historic Katy Depot,
yes,
and that also serves as a welcome center for visitors as well as local people. And it is right on the Katy Trail. So we are a trailhead. So we get to see and visit with bicyclists that are utilizing that Katy Trail that goes across the state, of course, from Clinton to St. Charles. So we are in a great spot.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about your duties and what you really try to work for Sedalia.
Okay, and we have a board where I
Yes.
am governed by a 12-person board, and they oversee things as well as they're an active board. We have a lot of energetic community leaders that's on that board, and believe me, with their expertise in different areas, makes it so much easier for me to go out and do my job. I do recruit. I recruit events to come to Sedalia all over. Anything that's a good fit. Sometimes I work thinking that it's going to be a specific event that I can bring in, and I find out that there's some particular obstacle that we're just not a match for. So,
Okay.
we just kind of back up and start all over again with a different path.
Mm-hmm. But you've been very successful in the past with some groups bringing them in. Highlight a couple of those. And I know you work in partnership a lot with the Missouri State Fair because they have let's face it, they have tremendous facilities out there and a lot of opportunities for different things. And then, of course, the Katy Trail coming right through our fair city, that's also a big drawing point. But maybe some projects or some groups you've been able to invite in the past.
Okay. Well, and naturally, the Tough Mudder is one that I think that the local people recognize because it was built up on the fairgrounds. And I do want to reinforce what John said regarding the Missouri State Fair being a wonderful asset to Sedalia. It is truly an amazing asset, and we do not want to underestimate the impact that everything that goes on out there outside of the Missouri State Fair. We all recognize the Missouri State Fair and what it does to our community, but those off-season events are fabulous. It helps us going all year long. So the Tough Mudder was one that came in that everyone enjoyed that tremendously, and I actually picked that up from recruiting at a show in Pennsylvania. So I travel to different places to try to bring in different things. We have had also the Fireball Run, and that was a big one that the community was so involved with. It took so much. We had the team that drove the 40 teams, the 13 cities from Texas to Sedalia, and Rick Yeager and Ron Ditzfield was our Sedalia team, and they had such wonderful stories, and they had such a good following. All of the community here followed them along the the path, with all of their shenanigans. But that was a big event, and that also was recruited. And we have wrestling. We had the Rocky Mountain wrestling team that was in here for 1 year that I
Okay.
recruited from an event. That may not have been as notarized as the other two because it didn't involve the community. Actually, they just came in, did their thing, gave us their money, and left. So
It seems to me, Carolyn, in my drives around town, I am often going Clarendon Road behind the fairgrounds, and oh gosh, I would say once a week on average, and maybe even more than that, the magnitude of the livestock activities we see there, all of those respective shows. And if I'm correct in my thinking, we've had stud ram back for a number of years, have we not?
yes, we have. And stud ram is a really good one. They sleep in our hotels. They eat in our restaurants. They shop in our stores. So stud ram is an important one, and we certainly are impacted by what revenue that they bring to us.
What is today's date, John?
Today is the 22nd.
22nd of October. Okay, so that at least puts some perspective to you, the listeners, and what we're talking about some today, because I'd also like you to hit one of the huge happenings that we just had at the fairgrounds and the magnitude of what it brings to the community.
And I know that Ron must be talking about the International Airstream Rally, which is people that have those beautiful bullet-like campers, and they come from all over the United States. It was an international rally, truly, and people that flew in actually to California or Kansas City or whatever, and one lady actually even flew into Kansas City and took the Amtrak to Sedalia. So we've heard all kinds of ways how that people have gotten to Sedalia. And as far as getting the Airstream rally here, that was 1,340 rigs that was parked at the fairgrounds, the campgrounds. Plus, there was heads in beds. There were hotel rooms utilized with the Airstream vendors and some of the people, like I just mentioned, that didn't bring their rigs, but they were still members of the International Airstream Rally, and they wanted to be here at that event. So they got here without their rigs.
And Carolyn, let me interrupt you there because it's a key component here. You said heads in beds, and our listeners might not relate to that very much, but in order for you to do what you do to attract more and more folks and groups to our community, there's a 5% tax at the hotels in our community, and that money is set aside to attract even more folks in here. So when you get a big group like that, they're not, as you pointed out, they're not all staying in the fairgrounds in their Airstreams. Many of those are staying in the hotel rooms, which of course generates money for the hotel owners, the restaurants, and the grocery stores, etc.
Absolutely, yes. Very well said.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, like John mentioned, how we are funded, exclusively how we are funded. So it is important to have.
So we had over 1,300 Airstream units here, and how many people did we actually have here, approximately?
Yeah, it was a minimum of 3,000 people.
3,000 people in that 5-6 day period in there. So that's...
Yes, and actually they started moving in on September the 29th, and they moved out on March the 12th.
Okay.
So they were here for a while, bringing an impact, a huge economic impact to Sedalia. We definitely want them back.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I know that the chambers and the state of Missouri have formulas that are calculated to where they can estimate with a group like that and what kind of impact they could have financially on a community. Can you share any numbers like that?
Yes, absolutely. And those calculations add up to approximately 5,000, the economic impact was huge. It was absolutely huge.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are very fortunate to have that formula to do that. But for $5 million is what the economic impact was
Okay.
for that event.
Mm-hmm.
And it's staggering to think of that, but it was incredible. And I did have that ability to talk to the people and know what kind of feedback that they had on their experiences with different parts of Sedalia, and it was good. They loved Sedalia,
Mm-hmm.
and that's another reason why I do feel strongly that we're getting them back really soon. We did have the Airstream here in 2012.
Okay.
And so that was a number of years ago. And the cycles, they don't normally do they don't really cycle back very soon at all. And so that was a number of years ago. And there wasn't nearly the number. And they shared with me, the Airstream group shared with me that they had 40% new members this year. And that is staggering to think about that.
Maybe
40%.
they just heard they were all going to Sedalia, so they
That's
just wanted to
right.
join up, right?
Absolutely. So 1,340 Airstream rigs were on our campgrounds.
And so besides you, what's the other attraction that brings them in?
Well, the Missouri State Fairgrounds right now has the third largest campground in the United States.
Okay.
So I think that that's a pretty good indication that why they were interested in Sedalia and gave us a look before they made the decision to come here. And just think about whenever the other campgrounds, the camping spots are finished that's underway right now on the fairgrounds, we're going to be number one in the United States.
Excellent.
So we will have the opportunity to have the Airstream back within 3 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm. And some folks listening to us or watching us today that don't understand that we had a lot of hookups out there, but then the Missouri State Fair acquired another 200 acres to the west out there. And part of the long-term plans is to generate more hookups out there too. So
Yes.
that's another long-term situation.
So I think that we not only are going to be hosting the International Airstream Rally again, but I think that will draw in other rallies to our campgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
They know that we can handle them. They had such a good time. When I was out there, I saw so many bicycles that I thought, oh my goodness, I think this is a bicycling, rally, not an Airstream rally. But they all brought, many of them brought bicycles,
Right.
and then they reached out to rent bicycles. And so they had all that fairgrounds that they could ride those bicycles around safely.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the edge of the campground is one trailhead. Sedalia is lucky enough to have 2 trailheads in our community, and they could jump on at the trailhead right off the campgrounds and right up to our other trailhead, which was the Katy Depot, in the visitor centers, and then jump on 3rd Street or 5th Street and ride to Ohio Street. And they just had a grand time. We saw bicycling groups all over town while they were here, and it was good. It was wonderful.
I don't think Ron, I don't think I told Ron this, but I sent you a text about midday on Sunday to report to you that a group of us guys who get together and run on Sunday mornings on the Katy Trail, all of a sudden we had all of these bicyclers that kind of came up from the fairgrounds and was passing us. And of course, they don't have to pedal too fast to pass us because we're an older group. But it was just really neat to see those visitors in our community and so many of them using the Katy Trail. And we knew they were from the camper rally because they had shirts on that identified them. And so, another matchup of great things to see and do in Sedalia, Pettis County.
So in general, Carolyn, how much, or what period of time are you typically working into the future as far as bringing activities here?
Oh,
Good question.
it's a long time. Whatever is out there. Some of them have events that's typically 3 years out, 2 years out. So it's usually that long of a period. But of course, there's always these things that come up that if we have if everything clicks, then we can jump right on it. I have had opportunities to do, just pop up, tournaments, baseball tournaments, soccer tournaments, and things, but we already had something on all of our fields or whatever, but working, with the State Fair Community College and the Smith Cotton High School, with all of those fields and sports complexes that they're building underway right now, and the Liberty Stadium and the parks for the soccer fields, we're going to have an amazing opportunity to bring sporting events in. I think sporting events is going to impact us greatly in the next few years.
So, do you have anything that you can let the cat out of the bag with, that you've got some things that are maybe potential or that may be definitely scheduled for, upcoming, maybe next year or whenever?
Okay, sure. I think right now what I'm focusing on is the Red Power Roundup. And that is going to be huge. That's going to bring in 20,000 people over, a 5-day period. The Red Power Roundup is International Harvesters International, and
Okay.
and that's a lot of the International Harvester tractors and that type of thing. And they were here as well a few years ago, and a great group, a great group, great bunch of people. So we're helping them out. We're doing a lot of legwork for them. We're producing a pamphlet that they will hand out to every one of their people that's going to have their show itinerary in it and their programs. And we are also going to and working with the Chamber of Commerce, their businesses. We are going to give them an opportunity to be in this pamphlet, and so that will be in the hands of every one of those people.
Well, you mentioned up to 20,000 people. Would that possibly be the biggest group we've had yet?
Of international harvesters, or
just in general?
Actually, for a one-time thing, it may be. It may very well be. I hadn't thought of that, Ron. That's very
Right.
good.
And one other thing that came to mind to me as you were visiting about that, and of course we haven't taken this into account today, but I'm sure you're taking it into account in the future, and that is the construction of the new arena on the state fairgrounds, which is underway. And
That is going to be fabulous. What a great facility that's going to be to promote and bring things in. And Stephen Sims out at the Missouri State Fairgrounds, he's key too. He's very key. He'll be going to all of these places that he shows in, and then with all of our other opportunities for not only show the cattle shows and that type of thing. There will be other opportunities for that arena too. So those will be big.
Mm-hmm. And that new arena, am I correct in saying that will actually seat more than the grandstands currently do?
And I have heard that as well. And yes.
So inside concerts,
Right.
like say, just anything that people don't want to get wet or get cold.
And the assurance that things aren't going to be, rained out or whatever is important.
Well, I knew that the previous Missouri State Fair director, Mark Wolf, would tell us that, we'd like to get these big groups, but they require that, if the weather cancels it, we still want X number of dollars. And you buy insurance to cover some of that, but that doesn't cover it all. And so we are definitely in weather changes in Missouri quite often.
It does.
Pretty regularly.
It does. It certainly does.
We talked about the Katy Trail, and one of the things that I think just most recently, again, maybe just within the last 2 or 3 weeks, was the BAM group, and maybe is there a couple, and our listeners and watchers might not know what that means, so I'll let you tell them that. So
the BAM is the Bicycling Across Missouri on the Katy Trail, and we do have those twice a year. They come in. Some of them you might see in the Liberty Park in their tents, the tent camp. But the majority of those or part of them actually stay in hotels.
Okay.
So, and we work with the downtown. We work with Hotel Bothwell. The BAM does, and and they have a great time down on our Ohio Street, and then have the party inside the. And when I say party, they have this really cool one-man band, and it's just entertaining. So and they like Sedalia, and we seem like we're always the first stop along the because they start at Clinton and end up in St. Charles, and I guess they do that. And you're the bike rider, so you would tell me why that they start there, that it's the headwind or the grade or whatever.
Well, maybe because they want to see Sedalia first.
There you go. And we raise the bar to make the others really work.
That's exactly
That's
right.
right.
Yes. And so are there other commercial companies out there that are offering bike rides along the Katy Trail?
Yes, there are. There is several. You'd be surprised, but some of them are very quiet that I don't even know until they stop in at the Katy Depot, which is the trailhead with the souvenirs and all that stuff that bikers seem to do. Plus, we have the resources of restrooms and the water and just a nice, cool place. Plus the Heritage Museum, which they love to learn about Sedalia.
So, and I think I moved too quickly, maybe missing an opportunity for you to talk more about what might be on the horizon besides this.
The Red Power Roundup.
Beyond that.
Well, at the fairgrounds, and they have things that go on, like they have like 300 and some events all through the off season. It's amazing all the things, and some of them are bigger than the others, and other than knowing, that working with them and doing whatever support that the visitors bureaus need to do, sometimes other than the businesses that they go in and patronize, we as, just citizens may not even realize that there's something big going on out there. But there is. We've got in December, which, I did get this one, and I'm very proud to have, because every Friday and Saturday before Christmas, whenever the high school students are out all over, Missouri, then they have what they call the Battle on the Katy, and that is a wrestling tournament, and it brings in families that, on Friday night, you will see them out after weigh-in. You'll see them out on all the restaurants. All the restaurant seats are full because once they weigh in, then they can eat. But that's a big one, and very fortunate for them to find Sedalia to be that fit. And our hotels normally, on that weekend, they aren't full. They don't have a large amount of reservations already, so it is a good fit.
And how did they come up with that name along the Katy? I mean, is it because they stay at cities that are on the Katy?
No, it's only Sedalia.
Okay, all right.
But they whenever they do it at other places, it would be whatever, the battle at whatever.
Okay.
But but because we're on the Katy Trail, they have it in the Mathewson. But so we are known for the Katy Trail. So they have the battle on the Katy Trail.
Okay. Anything else the locals can look forward to?
Well, there is so many things that go on at the Missouri State Fairgrounds, like the horse shows, that they would love for you just to come in. And if you have guests or visitors take them out there, walk around that beautiful, fairgrounds, and go into the Coliseum if there's something going on. Some of those horse shows are just fabulous. We just finished up with the American Horseman Challenge, and the Visitors Bureau actually does a hospitality dinner partnering with the Cattlemen Association out of the Beef House. And we bring in kind of like our one-man band, which was Evans, and he plays, country music or whatever. And he has a little boy that is just so little, and he's even gotten so that he can do one song. And so it was so special. And those people from all over from Texas to Michigan. They come to this American Horseman Challenge, and they dress up. One of their events is that they dress, and it's just very entertaining. It's very cool that they do all of that. So we do partner with the cattlemen, and they provide it in the beef house, and it makes such a nice place for them to do, and they love the fairgrounds. And they had to work through because the State Fair Arena was under construction for our new build,
Right.
and so that put them out of a space that they normally had. And last year, whenever they were, realized, that, and some of the board had said, well, should we look for, somewhere else? And the organizers, the head, said no, that the state fairgrounds has always been good to us, that they will work with them and with the other spaces that they have and make it work. And following up on that, yes, indeed, they made it work for them, and they have nothing but good things to say about the Missouri State Fairgrounds. And they have we've been doing this for several years now, and it's always been, successful. And you like to see people come into a community that's happy, and it's nicer whenever they leave and they're still happy.
So for our listeners who are interested in what is going on at the fairgrounds week in, week out, my understanding, I think I've been out there, is on the website. I believe there's a schedule of
It's on the off-season events calendar. So it is. And they put that up for like 3 months at a time or something like that. So it is pretty accurate information.
I think we might be getting a little bit close on time, but I don't want us to leave here without sharing some good information about the community and getting involvement. And you shared with us earlier the story of when the group, with the Airstream group, when they came in, they wanted to do something with the pumpkins, and so you thought about Susan and Rick Mergen, who had the pumpkin farm, and made arrangements or whatever, and got them the pumpkins that they needed. And so it's just one of those things within our community that really makes us shine over and above. All they needed to do was ask you, and you knew who to ask, and you knew that they would be supportive of it, and so you got the pumpkins.
Well, actually, we do have so many people, but Susan Mergen is a delight to work with. And everyone that knows Susan just knows her enthusiasm. And she was saying, I made a new friend. I can't hardly wait to see her.
Yeah.
And so it was so cute, the whole thing. And she was there, her and Rick, before daylight. I know, because I was out there and I saw them. They were delivering those pumpkins and those corn stalks and the straw bales to the fairgrounds around where the Airstream people needed them. And the Airstream were just absolutely thrilled with the Mergens too. So we have a lot of people like that, but that was recent, and I do like to share it.
Still on our mind. And of course, we've all lived here long enough now that we've heard some negative comments about the Missouri State Fair is coming up and the traffic's going to be heavy. And my comeback with that is that, we all live in the same country, so let's be nice, let's be pleasant, give them a little bit of headspace. And then now you bring in the Airstream group, and they're all pulling all these huge Airstreams behind them. And you always tell them to just be kind, be nice. Right. And that's what's going to make them come back.
It is. It absolutely is. You don't have to spend a dime to smile. Just be courteous.
Yeah.
Just to point out, John, as far as in the process of wrapping up this with Carolyn, I think we're at T-minus 4.5 minutes right now. So that's how long we've got.
Oh, so we still have 4 minutes left?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't even see the clock back there. Okay, well, very good. Well, I was wrapping up too early. Okay. Would you like to sing and dance or anything for us here, Carol?
You know what? I'm going to follow your lead.
Be careful what you. Yeah, that's more there.
I thought I was on sure ground.
Well, now that we got the time, so is there anything else that we've kind of covered a whole gamut of things? But did we miss anything? Is there anything else you want the listeners, the viewers, to see or hear? Anything to go along with what you're doing?
Well, and actually, it's just come if you have people, direct them to the Katy Depot Welcome Center. Get on our website, the Visit Sedalia Mo website. We have Facebook that talks about different things around the community. So I do. And if you have a lead on a group that needs to come to Sedalia, get with me.
And there's some financial support for bringing those folks, those groups in, especially if they're marketing to an area that's outside of our immediate area, so that we actually get true visitors, not just folks that live down the street. So I think that's an important point to make, that, there are some funds available for those who are just thinking about needing funds and to bring
Yes,
folks to
absolutely.
Sedalia.
Please reach out to us. Let us, hear what your ideas are. We want, things to happen in Sedalia. We want to bring in those events. So absolutely, we are open for help in those areas.
Something we always like to do, because we know that it takes a village. And of course, all of us in what we do, we don't do it by ourselves. There are always helping hands, and there are always other people involved. You might give a quick shout out to your assistants that provide all of the help to you.
Okay. As far as are we talking about my board, which is the majorly help? We're talking about
I want to hear about the everyday people that are involved in it.
Okay. I do have the CVB has a person, Shelley Rounds, who handles the social media. She does our website updates and social media and is writing blogs. So Shelley works with me. Then the partners for us is the Sedalia Chamber of Commerce. They're actually in the same building. We have the Welcome Center staff, which is the Sedalia Heritage Foundation, and do a fabulous job. So there is so much help, and love in that Katy Depot that we can do some things together, and we do, and we have.
So is there any group or anything else that you see our community a little bit short on that you would appeal to the public to help out with?
Well, actually, I think that there is so many nonprofits and everything, and sometimes those help, it gets spread so thin, because there's those people that actually do the work, and then there's those people that, sometimes are too occupied in other things. And so we always need volunteers, and there's some events that come in that I have to reach out and have a lot of, volunteer requests.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So can you share, we got a little time left, the Airstream group, you had indicated to me at one time, excuse me, that when they came into town, loved what they saw, and yet they did some of giving from within their own group to some of our local nonprofits. Are you at liberty to share
Yes,
a little
they
bit
did.
of that?
They gave the Bothwell Health Center $21,000 to $29,000 in different things, and then for the Katy Trailhead at the Katy Depot, they gave $7,000. So we are very fortunate. They were a very giving group, and they did blood. They had a blood drive, and they gave so many kinds of blood.
Mm-hmm. So they were here, shopped at our stores, stayed at our hotels, ate at our restaurants, and yet still left a bucket full of money behind, helping the non-for-profits carry on.
Yes, they sure did.
Well, they might not have access to this, but we extend to them a great thank you for coming to Sedalia.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. Okay. Carolyn, thanks for being on our first inaugural second happening of the shows. So thank you for coming, and thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.